In this video, we'll see how to write equations in point-slope form. So to start off, we start with y minus y1. Remember, y1 is the y-coordinate of a point on the line. And that's going to be equal to m, which is the slope, times the quantity x minus x1. And x1 is that x-coordinate that is on the line. So a line passes through negative 7, 4, and has a slope of negative 1/2. What's the equation for that? So I'm going to take y. And what's my y-coordinate? My y-coordinate is 4. And that's going to be equal to my slope, which is negative 1/2 times this quantity, x, minus my x-coordinate, which is negative 7. Well, I don't want to leave it here as x minus negative 7. So a better way to write this will be y minus 4 equals 1/2 x minus a negative. I'm going to rewrite that as plus 7. All right, why don't you try the second one? So I'm going to start with y minus my y-coordinate. So y minus that negative 9 is equal to my slope, which is 5, times the quantity x minus my x-coordinate, which is negative 12. I want to simplify this. Y minus negative 9 is y plus 9, and that's equal to my slope times x minus negative 12. And I'm going to simplify that to x plus 12. All right, if you can do the previous one, if you have a graph, then all we want to do is identify what's the slope and what's a point on the line, and then we can write it in point-slope form. So in this equation, in the graph for this equation, my slope, well, if I start over here at negative 4, 2, and I go up here to negative 3, 6, I am going up 4, and I am going to the right 1. So if it's up and to the right, my slope is 4. Well, I've been given 2 points on this line. Let's just look at negative 3, 6 and see how we could write the equation. I would write this as y minus 6 is equal to the slope, 4, times this quantity x minus a negative 3, which I'm going to just rewrite as x plus 3. But let's say you wanted to use that point, negative 4, 2, instead. You absolutely can do that. You would just have to write this equation. Y minus 2 equals 4 times the quantity x plus 4. All right, let's take a look at this graph. Hopefully you notice, and you should always do this when you're looking at graphs and thinking about the slope, that it looks like it's going downhill when I look at it from left to right. So I know right off the bat my slope is going to be negative. So with my negative slope, I go here and I check what's the change in y over the change in x. It's going from 5 all the way to negative 3. That means it's going down 8. And it's going to the right 1, so my slope is negative 8. I'm going to use this point, 6, 5, to write my equation. So I'm going to write my equation, y minus the y-coordinate, which is 5, is equal to the slope times x minus the x-coordinate, which is 6. But if you chose the other point, 7, negative 3, then you would just have to do y minus negative 3, which is y plus 3, equals that same slope, negative 8, x minus the x-coordinate, which is 7. And that's how we write equations in point-slope form.